Welcome to the 11th episode of the Running with Kelly podcast, where we talk about all things running. My name is Kelly Nash, and I'm an RRCA certified running coach. And joining me, as always, is my running partner, my best friend, and my invisible co-host, Alex Kroll. Alex, I know we don't have you up here on video. We know you're there, and I know you have a save the date for us. What do you got?
Hey, Kelly. Yeah, good. I'm having some technical difficulties, so you just get to see Coach Alex instead of me. But I did just get back from running, so I guess maybe my camera knows I'm not camera worthy right now. But yeah, so I do have a save the date coming up. It's hard to believe we're in October, which means next month is November. And what that means is Track Friday is coming, and it's coming quickly. This year, again, is the Friday after Thanksgiving. So that's going to be November 24th. We will be at the Irondequoit High School track from 8 to 11 a.m. And we are going to be running for a great cause this year. We are benefiting the Sunset House, which is a hospice home here in Irondequoit. And we're just going to be running laps. You can come and run one. You can run 100. You can run as many laps as you want to. And we always pray for no snow. It's a really good time for a great cause. So I hope that as many people can come and make it, because it's one of my favorite events of the whole holiday season, honestly. So
Thank you. I love Track Friday, and it is a very fun and healthy way to support the community and to burn those Thanksgiving calories. And it did snow one year. We actually had a guest from, I think he was originally from Ethiopia.
yes.
He was like, what is going on here? We had to shovel the track before we could run on it. So hopefully that won't be an issue.
Hopefully we won't have to do that, but yeah, hopefully we'll have a great turnout again this year. It's such a great event. Burn those calories, raise some money for the Sunset House. It's really fantastic.
Absolutely. So on to today's podcast. Today, our title is Running from Kids Group to Adulthood. And joining us today is one of my favorite people, Matthew Jorstad. Matthew has participated actually in one of our very first sessions of the Kids Run the Nation, which is an RRCA youth running program that's gender inclusive and focuses on fun and fitness. And I think it was at least 10 years ago, Matthew. You've definitely run from the kids group into adulthood, and you have a lot to show for it. And I know Alex and I are really excited for this chat. So Matthew, welcome to the Running with Kelly podcast.
Hi, Matthew.
Well, how's it going, everyone? It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's been so
We're
long
glad
since
you're
I've seen
here.
you.
I'm glad to be here.
So Matthew, you were in one of our first groups. What do you remember about it?
Well, the first group I remember sort of going to the first few practices and being like, what am I doing here? What is this? What is this running thing? Why and people do this for fun? What's going on here? I remember being confused as to why I was running in circles, but it ended up being quite beneficial. It was great.
That's awesome. Do you now? I think in that one group we had Ben, we had Kaya, some other friends of yours from school. Just curious, do
Nathaniel.
you still keep in touch with any of those people?
Not really. I talk to Ben sometimes.
Yeah.
I talk to Ben. Well, I guess I guess Ben has become a lifelong friend from running with Kelly. So, well, lifelong. I'm only 18, but as far as my life has gone so far, I keep in touch with Ben.
That is very, very cool. Now, when we did the kids group, um, it's funny that you said you're like, what is going on here? What is running? Is it sport? I remember clearly that you were very fast and you were very much wanting to do your best and you were ready for the next challenge. I'm trying to remember how old you were. Well, I know in one of these pictures we have on here, here we are, this one here, you finishing a 5K and your time is 25 and a half minutes. Clearly you were fast because I think you were probably 10 in this picture. I'm not really
Well, it
sure.
says it on the shirt too, so clearly.
Yes, that's right.
782.
Wow, 20. I was 10.
I
Damn.
think I think maybe 10, maybe
Uh,
11.
uh, it's not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Not shabby at all. I knew that you had something special for sure. And then I remember having the discussion of getting some of the kids together to form relay teams for the Rochester Marathon. And I thought you would make a great teammate for the marathon, for the relay. And then you're like, Coach, I want to do the half by myself.
No, that's not how it happened. That is not how it happened. That is not what happened.
I don't recall what happened.
We were gonna do the relay, which I didn't end up doing the relay. I guess the other people did. But you were like, Matthew, cause somebody had dropped out and I was gonna end up having to do 2 legs. That was gonna be like 9 miles versus like the 4 or 6 that I would have done. And you were like, just round up, just do the half marathon. I remember you
Coach Kelly
texting
would
me
never
that.
do that.
It was
You
my
told me
idea?
just round up, half marathon. Yes, that was your idea.
Oh dear.
I
It
find
was a
that
good
hard to
idea.
believe,
It was a
Matthew.
good
She never
idea.
does that to anybody.
No, never.
Kelly never suggests we work longer.
No. So that first half marathon, what year was that? Do
That
you
was a
recall?
while ago. I think I was 11.
That's what I thought. 11.
I
Yeah,
remember
first half
being
marathon. And what was your time? Do you
11.
remember?
It was like 2 hours and like 20 minutes.
My goodness.
Well, I'm jealous of that because that's about where I am when I'm like training now. So that's pretty phenomenal at that age.
Why, thank you.
So you started doing these half marathons. Do you know how many you've done so far?
I used to keep track.
He
I
used
think
to keep track.
Well, I have a whole lot of medals somewhere. Well, I know where they are, but yeah, I've probably done like 10, something like that. I remember when I was little, it was all about the medals. However many I could do, I picked all the races that would have the coolest medals. I did the 4 seasons challenge so I could get 2 medals per race instead of 1. I was a fan of those medals, so I did as many races as I could.
That is so with all the races that you've done, do you of those half marathons in particular, do you have a favorite and like a worst one?
Well, my favorite and my worst is probably the same one. So I don't remember what year it was, but it was like -30 wind chill for the Winter Warrior half marathon. And they changed the rules so that you could do just the 5K and have it count as the whole marathon. Like you would get the half marathon trophy if you just did 1 lap. And I was like, no, I need to do all of the laps to get my trophies because you weren't eligible for the glass, like the glasses that they give out if you only did 1 lap. So I was like, I'm doing all of them. I want every single trophy possible. And I did win that. I did win that glass trophy I wanted. But yeah, that was probably my favorite. It was quite difficult. I remember on the last leg, I was really wanting a hug. I was struggling. But yeah, that was my favorite and worst race.
I remember that race. It was so cold. There have been a couple years where that Winter Warrior's been so cold. But I
Mhm.
remember that one because people kept going into my van, but the heater in the van wouldn't even like it wasn't warm enough anymore. It was just too darn cold. And everybody was just suffering. It didn't matter if you were running, standing, sitting in the car. That was a miserable, miserable day. So kudos to you for getting through that. I don't think I even did the half that year. So that was a painful, painful day.
Alex, I think you and I were on a relay team.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah.
I wish I kept better track of things.
Yeah, Matthew, you think you don't remember exactly how many and stuff like that right now. Wait till you get to be just a few years older like us, and then you'll see it gets even harder.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Matthew, when you did all these when you were younger and then you moved on to high school, did you ever run track or cross country?
So I ran cross country. I never ran track because I played baseball in the spring. So
Right, right.
I that was out of the question running track. And then I ran cross country and that was great. But I was never really that good at cross country. Um, but there was something about running that I kept on doing. I mean, right now I'm running. I'm not on a team or anything.
There you are,
Well, I guess I am on a
yes,
team. I am on a team.
running with Kelly team.
I'm on Team Kelly.
That
But yeah.
is cool. I wondered, like I know just the team atmosphere being on cross country. Like my son Charlie was on cross country, and he was never in the front, never one of the scorers, but it was a very important part of his life because he just had built such great friendships, and just being part of the team was very meaningful for him. And he still runs. Like he's in college now.
Hmm.
He's still he'll do the club team, and he'll still run some miles. So he's found it to be a sport that he wants to keep for life. You know.
Yeah. So something you get from cross country is just you just become it's really eye opening when you can sort of do things that you really didn't know that you could do. Like when you actively think that you can't run a certain time and then a coach is able to show you, hey, you're able to do this, and then you can run that time and even surpass that. It's a really powerful feeling, and having multiple years of high school cross country in a sort of difficult program like Irondequoit, our practices are real tough. It is quite good thing to go through, I think, for somebody.
Yeah, for sure. I know Coach Tytler over there has a top
Quite the
grade.
regimen.
Yes, lots of
It's good stuff.
workouts for sure. Did you find anything with the youth program? Like, was it helpful transitioning to high school uh,
Definitely.
with the running?
Definitely. Because I already had quite a background of what running was and how to do it. I mean, there's running and then there's actually running. Like it's a whole different world once you start training every day and actually racing and wanting to run your best times and wanting to do your best for yourself. So, yeah.
So, Matthew, you were in our program till you finished sixth grade, and then you went
Mhm.
into seventh grade, and you were no longer in the running with Kelly realm.
Mhm.
But I think you still came. I think you came to our adult group a few times. There was only
Yeah.
ever like three people ever that I allowed to come that were under 18 to come to those workouts, and it was you, Kaya, and Ben. I'm pretty sure it was just the three of you.
Yep.
Um, now, uh,
I got some
now
good
that
memories from those.
Oh my gosh, you guys, the three of you were like the three musketeers.
That was a
You made
fun group.
coaching that group so much fun.
That was a fun group for sure.
Oh, so now you've graduated from high school and
Mhm.
you reached out saying that you were interested in continuing regular running. Now that you're out of the
Mhm.
school program, and you had you mentioned some goals that you might have had. So I was just curious, like what brought you back to running with Kelly, so to speak, and what is your goal if you want to share it with us? I mean, I know what
Well,
it is, but
I always I always wanted to there's something about doing like objectively difficult things that I just like doing. I don't know if it's being able to say that I did that. It's not even being able to say that I did that. I like feeling for myself that I can do these very difficult things. So it's always been in the back of my mind to want to run big races. And so I'm training for the Buffalo Marathon right now. And I've always wanted to run a marathon, run farther than a marathon. Um, so what specifically was I was at the family reunion this summer, and my uncle Brandon, who runs and does triathlons, Ironmans and such, he's like, Matthew, like you're like skinny and tall and like run and such, like you should run a marathon. I was like, you know what, Uncle Brandon, maybe that's a good idea. And then I texted you.
I'm so glad when I got that text. I was so excited. Um and you came to a couple, and there's a few there's another very fast gentleman that I've been working with who I think you guys will be working together and helping each other.
Nicholas.
Yeah. Did you see him?
Yeah,
You ran with him one time, I think.
Yeah, Nick at
Yeah,
the
Nick.
I think twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so excited to have you back and doing that, and with this new goal. I actually coached your uncle to when he ran his first ultra. Did you know that?
Really? I did not know that.
Yes. We had this whole discussion about what was easier, an Ironman or an ultra, and I thought for sure an ultra was easier, that an Ironman was harder, and he absolutely, and still now when I talked to him at your graduation party, he's like, "Oh no, ultras
Really?
are harder."
He said that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's hard because you have to do the one thing for so long,
Mhm.
whereas in the Ironman, at least just splitting it up, kind of, I guess. But
I mean, the thing about running is just it's really I mean, it's hard. I mean, if you just like think about running and then you just keep on running. Like most people, that's not really conceivable.
Yeah. So actually, I know you like to do hard things and you like to, challenge yourself. What is it about running specifically that makes you want to do that rather than like bike 100 miles or, backpack
It's just
across the
like
Appalachian?
it's just primal. Like you just run. It's like it's in your DNA. Like I wake up, I'm as a human, I'm like, damn, I gotta start running. It's just something difficult that you do, and you feel human. It's very, it's a very human experience. Running, not knowing how far you can run, running farther than you thought you could. Um, when it starts to get really difficult, and then something ticks, and you're just like, I'm here running. It's difficult, and this is just what we're doing right now. It's a great feeling.
I really think I see a lot of ultras in your future because you have the right mindset for ultras and not just marathons. Because that's what I found about ultras is people say, "Why do you do that?" Like they don't understand that like running for 6 hours is just or 12 hours, whatever the time is or the distance. It's just a different mindset. Like so much of it is just you're just mind over matter, and it really is your mindset is set for ultra running. So I'm excited to see where you're going to run in the future,
So am I.
even after Buffalo.
Yeah,
I like running.
definitely.
Running's good.
You've definitely got some ultra in you, I think for sure. So
Hmm.
we have an arrangement right now. So I'm going to share that with everyone. So Matthew has a plan and he's welcome to come to the Tuesday night workouts and all that. And this is how he's paying me. He's paying me by working as a coach with the kids program that he had graduated from. So now Matthew is Coach Matthew, and he's on the other end of the spectrum. He actually went through and did the whole safe sport training and everything. And Matthew, I got to tell you, it's surreal for me. I'm sure for Alex too, to see you there supporting these kids when you used to be in their place. I was curious how you felt about it and what you think of the being on that end of things so far.
Well, it's a really interesting feeling knowing that I was exactly what these kids are right now, and me being who I am, looking at who I was. It's just that's very interesting. And also, I know that uh, the biggest lessons I maybe learned from doing that group was when you have a coach that tells you you can do something, who are you to say no? Who are you to say you can't do it? It's just you go out and do it. I mean, to be very young and have a coach tell you, Matthew, you can go out and do this. You can run this half marathon. Because I wouldn't have thought of that. I wouldn't have thought, let me run farther. Like you need someone to tell you that. And for you to be a young person and have someone say, hey, you can do exceptional things. You can be this person. It's very beneficial.
And now you get to be the person saying that.
Well, yeah, and it was fun the other day. I mean, it was like 2 weeks ago. We had planned on doing like two or three fartleks, I think. And what a terrible name for a workout. Anyway, we had planned on doing like two or three and like walking for some of them. And I just told these kids, I got down and I was like, hey, this is going to be difficult and you might want to quit and you might be sore, but that's what we're doing this for. Like you want to find out who you are. And they were like they were totally on my level. They were understanding what was going on. They were like, all right, we're running. It's going to be hard and that's the point. Let's go do it.
I think it's really interesting to watch you with the kids because they're so drawn to you. And it's like everybody wants to be in Coach Matthew's group.
Oh,
And I just think that's really fun to bring runners back because they look up to you
Hmm.
in a different way than I think they even look at Coach Kelly and me because,
Hmm.
we're very different from having kids that and young adults who have gone through the program and who these kids can really identify with. And so I think it's fantastic that you're there. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. Um, it it's obvious that these kids really like having you there. So that's fantastic.
I mean, it's fun to do it too. I mean, it's it's fulfilling teaching people things.
you're very
When you
good.
can
I think I
when you can tell someone something and they're going to benefit from that, it's fun.
and you're very fresh out of it. Like, I mean, it's been a long time since it's been a few years since Alex and I have been young kids, but it's not been that long for you. And so you might remember like what it's like to have a coach believe in you and
Yeah, I mean,
encourage you in those ways.
I'm remembering specific moments and then coaching based on the coaching that I've received from whether it be Kelly, Alex, Coach Matt Teitler, um, or whoever it be. I mean, I, r- I do remember specific coaching moments, and those moments stay with you, and then they sort of shape who you are as a coach and as a person, and it's interesting.
I think that's awesome. And another thing I wanted to touch on is that you discovered a new passion over the
Mhm.
last couple of years. Um, and it's photography. And you've
Yeah.
started your own business and everything. You've graduated from high school. Now you're full-time photographer, Matthew. Like it just blows my mind. And I know how talented you are. I've seen your work, but we also we hired you at Heritage to do the Heritage Hero race the last 2 years. And Alex has been talking about Heritage Hero at the beginning of our podcasts for, I think the last, for all of our podcasts actually. And you were the photographer the last 2 years. We had you back because they were so impressed. And then we had you do photography for our lapathon we did at the end of our last kids group, and you're very, very good. It's amazing. I was just wondering if you can talk about how you discovered your love for photography and how, if it was kind of neat being able to, I know you took photos, I think of a lot of sports teams for sure,
Mhm.
and running events, when you see your two passions together and taking pictures of running. So
Yeah,
tell
and
us a
other sports too. I mean,
yeah,
your sports photography is fantastic.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
you got some really great shots of Alex's daughter Olivia for
Yeah.
one.
yeah, that was great.
So, I got into photography as a freshman. No, that's not true. Summer after 6th grade, so way earlier than being a freshman. I took a community education class with Mr. Reardon. I love that guy. Good old Mr. Reardon. And that's where it started. My grandma did photography, my brother did photography, my father did photography. I live in Rochester, so Kodak, I have to be a photographer, right? So I started doing it and then ended up I was pretty good at it. This is a self-portrait on the screen right now. Um and yeah, so now I do senior photos, family photos, and sports pictures. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I know you're open for business if people want to hire you as a photographer.
Yeah, so the best way to contact me is just at my number 585-406-0746. Just call me up.
Give them a call. We will put that in our details
Hmm.
under the podcast details for sure, so people can reach out to you.
I
Um,
think part of the reason I sort of fell in love with photography was I was I would always see my life passing by, and even as a young person, I would always think of 20 years in the future, what I would think about now. And I always was scared of like missing out on moments, and photography really gave me a way to just creatively document the life that's going on around me and for others. So it's great when I get to just turn a memory into a photo and then have it forever.
that was beautiful.
Oh, I think Kelly's going to start crying. Good job, Matthew.
That was beautiful. And the fact that you're able to do that for other people and help chronicle their lives
It's
and
great.
that is just
I
amazing.
I mean, just yesterday I was doing this girl's senior photos, and I turned the camera around, show her, and she's like, "Oh my goodness!" It's it's great when people are just they never thought they could look that good. It's my
Well,
favorite thing.
I was so excited when you sent me Olivia's pictures because I've taken a million crappy photos on my iPhone. And I was like, I want some good photos so like I can give them to my family for Christmas. Spoiler alert, people, you're getting photos for Christmas. Um, but they were phenomenal. And some of them were just such great action shots. And I'm like, I'm going to have to put these in her portfolio and like her pictures for when she graduates and all that stuff. And you don't think about it until it's past that if you don't have pictures of that, it's a memory that's missed. So I love the way you put
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Matthew, Alex and I had talked about it. We would love to have you take just a couple pictures of us so we can put a different photo on our thumbprint for our podcast and not this one
Mhm.
selfie we've been using.
Get the Kelly
Something
Show
where we look
podcast.
good, and maybe next time my camera will work. I don't know what happened tonight.
Yeah,
Well,
Matthew, we would love to be the one gasping about how good we look if you show us
oh,
pictures of
my
us.
phone going off. Ow, I
Kelly, he's a
got you. I
photographer, not a
got you.
magician.
Not a miracle
What
work.
are you? Come on.
Well, Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. It's been exciting to see what your future unfold, and in both in photography and in running. I know you're going to do great things. You're going to do awesome in Buffalo. We just ask that you not forget about us when you become famous, please.
Of course not.
Remember us. Remember us. Alex, thank you as
Well,
always for joining me on this
Hey,
fun.
thanks for having me, and thanks for rolling with my technical issues tonight. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
we miss seeing
And
your beautiful face.
hey, I'm going to do a little plug since we have 1 minute remaining. Coach Kelly is onto a big thing this weekend, so let's wish her some luck down in Canandaigua. She's taking on Can Lakes 50 again, 50 miles around Canandaigua Lake. So our fearless leader is heading down to the Finger Lakes to be epic. So good luck. I love you. You're going to kill it this weekend, and I can't wait. I can't wait to hear about it.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it being over. It'll be my 10th time doing it. Matthew, I should have had you pace me for the last 15 miles of it.
I was just thinking about that. Why didn't you have me? I didn't know about this race.
My brother-in-law has been pacing me for the last few years doing it. It's the one time we ever run together, but
Oh,
maybe
it's
I'll
all
do it
right.
one more time after this. And then, oh, wait a minute, you do it. And I'll pace you for the last 15 miles.
Sounds good to me.
I think that works for well.
How
Oh,
the
well,
tables
thank you.
turn.
This has been so fun catching up. And
Thanks for having me.
I think this whole idea of running from kids group to adulthood is kind of a really neat theme. And I'm just so excited to see everything you're doing and excited to have you as a coach. Do one last thing. Matthew, I know I mentioned this to you before and you said you don't recall, but you did tell me when you were very new in the kids group that you wanted to be vice president. And then when I retired, that you would take over running with Kelly. And that has stayed with me. And look, it's almost like we're setting it up now. I mean,
We're working on it.
I love it. I'm not quite ready to retire yet, but we'll work together. I'll train you and you'll be good to go.
I'll be in vice president shape in no time.
Vice president. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And please, if you like our podcast, click the like button, write a comment, and let us know what you think. And happy running.